Hey everybody, BK Waz here. Gosh, it's been just a minute or two since I've checked in or made a video for my YouTube channel with regard to A Waz Apothecary, your color puppy soaps and candles. So let me kind of bring you up to speed. So the market or the season for I guess 2024 was officially over. We did a Christmas market. Um, and gosh, it was a lot of fun. I was concerned that it might be too cold or windy or even worse, snowing. But it was none of the above. It was actually a balmy, well, not balmy, but a decent day, sunshiny, da da da. It was not a problem at all to do our market. So I was really excited about that, and I was able to push quite a bit of merchandise, but I still have quite a bit of merchandise left over. So, having said that and having finished up my markets for 2024, I kind of turned my sights on 2025. But as fate would have it, nothing, it seems, in my life is ever consistent year after year after year. So, what we typically do is we've had our place in New Orleans for a number of years and our place in Baton Rouge for quite a few years. But we've lived in Baton Rouge in a house. We had a house on the water in Florida, stayed there for a number of years, and that was sweet. Um, but then we had a bit of a hurricane and this, that, and the other, and it just wasn't working out. And also found too that as I aged, I just found hanging out at the beach from sun up till sundown to be a little bit too much, and the heat was a little bit too much, and the mosquitoes and the humidity. And I'm speaking more of South Louisiana now because we also lived in Lake Charles for a brief period of time, and it was just awful. Moved there for all the wrong reason. And if you know me at all, then you know what that reason was. But it, and while I didn't have a bad time, I don't believe in regrets necessarily. I mean, are there things in my life that I would do differently? Of course there are, but do I really regret anything? I can honestly tell you no, I don't, because I do believe that who we are today is a direct result of everything that we've experienced, the good and the bad, and I can tell you, I'm satisfied with who I am, and I'm liking who I am, and da da da. So I don't know. Are there things that I would change if I could? Yeah, because it would be easier, I suppose. But I don't know that I would have the wisdom, the insight, those kinds of things that I have today as a result. Having said all of that, so we've lived in quite a few places. So we made a trip to Palm Springs back in July, and we had been to Palm Springs two or three times in the past. But this last trip was just really phenomenal. It was 126 degrees. But what's interesting about the temps in Palm Springs, I mean, it is sweltering, don't get me wrong. This coming from a guy who thought that the heat of Florida or the heat on the Florida beaches was just too much to handle anymore as I age, and I just da da da. Um, but looking back on that, I don't know necessarily that it was the heat. But let's just say that it was. Who cares? It's a moot point. But having come to Palm Springs July of 2024, and we spent about a week here, and it was just freaking phenomenal. I loved everything about it. I loved everything about it before. I think on trip before last, I had been watching Where the Bears Are. It's a series, and anyway, so I'm walking through this downtown Palm Springs, and they were having like a craft fair, a farmers market, and I came across these two guys who looked so familiar, but I just could not place them. So I walked up to them like, I know you guys from somewhere. Well, it was Wood and Nelson, two characters. That was the characters on Where the Bears Are. And of course, celebrity and da da da. So I had my picture taken, and the rest was history. All that to say that Palm Springs really has set well with me. And again, I reserve the right to change my mind tomorrow, next week, next year, 2 years. Time will tell. But here I am, and as you can tell, the condo that we have, it's got a lot of old old stuff. And at the couple, I think that we bought the condo from, I think that the husband had passed away actually, and they decided to sell the condo, dot, 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 and they sold it furnished. And while I can appreciate some of the aesthetics, it's not necessarily my taste or my style. And I'm really not a fan of wicker. And so, and of course, if you know anything about Palm Springs, you know that it's mid-century modern. So we're going to do a completely renovate the entire place. It's three different levels. It's right at 2,000 square feet. Love it, love it, love it. Oh my gosh. So we got ready, or I got ready to come here. We haven't officially closed yet, but the sellers were gracious enough because there were a couple of snags on their end that kept pushing the sale date back. But they were gracious enough to allow us to move in under a rental agreement until such time that we close, which will probably be in a couple of weeks. So I'm just sitting around Colorado, just miserable. They're forecasting more snow. It's 16 below zero. The wind's blowing. It's gray. It's dark. I'm depressed. It's depressing. I can't make candles and I can't make soap and I can't do all things business related because I already have a lot of inventory now. And I just didn't really see a whole lot of sense in going down to the studio and creating more inventory, especially anticipating a move west. So I decided on Monday, this past Monday, that I would drive on in on Tuesday. And I woke up Tuesday morning and there was like a dusting of snow. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, shit. And I knew there were forecasted snow, but it was going to be for that afternoon. And I'm thinking, well, we live fairly high up. So I decided to go ahead and go. My resolution for 2025 was to not live in fear because I'll be quite honest, very transparent. I think that I have missed out on a few things and I have not taken advantage of a few things out of my fear. Fear that I might get lost, fear that I might miss a plane, fear that I might travel somewhere and have a flat tire. Um, Something's going to go horribly wrong and here I am by myself. And I remember I had discussed that with the a friend of mine, Roxanne, and like missing my flight at the airport. And she's like, and you just go get another flight? And I'm thinking, well, yeah, just go get another flight. Anyway, having said all of that, so I decided that I was going to face these, not live in fear, not live in fear. And one was to fly alone. And so my mom had gotten word that she had gotten sick and, not really expecting to pull through. So, and I was at market on a Saturday evening when that happened. So I actually caught a flight Sunday morning out of Colorado Springs. And I was able to fly down to Monroe, even checked into a hotel, stayed an entire week. Golly, I got to see some friends of mine and, of course, family. In particular, my Aunt VK. I did see my brother and his new wife, and they were quite delightful, and I enjoyed that. And I got to visit with my mom, blah, blah, blah. Point being that, I was able to rent a car, which I've never done in my 60 years of living at that point, had never rented a car. I don't know that I've ever even checked into a hotel by myself, and I certainly had never flown. So I accomplished all of that. And so that gave me quite a boost of confidence, and I'm just living the dream, albeit under some pretty weird circumstances. Flash forward, Palm Springs, and I'm just dying to get out here. I wish you could see out of the patio right now. There are these grapefruit. They're this big, lemons, bombarded with hummingbirds, and I have a little grassy area and I have a sprinkler system so I can keep it all watered and I'm just chomping at the bit. Would you believe though that it's raining today in Palm Springs? They're expecting an inch of rain, uh, which could cause like flash flooding, street flooding. They're advising people if you don't have to travel, stay inside today. Which is weird for me because I'm thinking 22-inch snows, 10-inch rains in the south, and these guys are like freaking out over an inch of rain, but I can certainly understand how that would be problematic here in Palm Springs because it doesn't rain, right? And when it does rain, it just washes away. But anyway, so I got up Tuesday morning at 1 a.m. and I was on the road by 2 a.m. and I drove to Copper Cactus Campground in Arizona. And it took me 13 hours of constant driving, and I finally made it down some bumpy dirt rock filled road with big potholes and da da da. I was going to come in my Z4. I'm glad I didn't. I don't think that my Z4 would have made it. I certainly would have torn the muffler out of the bottom of that. But I was in my old trusty Jeep and loved that Jeep. And I got straight there, checked in, got into my. I didn't camp, you know. I didn't want to take a tent and all of that, but I stayed in the main house in one of the bedrooms, and went downstairs and met up with a bunch of guys, and you know we had burgers and French fries, or I did, and had a couple of drinks, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And I was in bed, I think by 9 p.m. Slept like a baby. Woke up at I don't know 4. Facebooked, emailed, all that kind of stuff, and then I jetted at 5 a.m. from right outside of Phoenix, this side of Phoenix, on my way to Palm Springs. I got here about 10 a.m. yesterday. Yeah. I got to the condo. The owners again were so gracious. They sent in a cleaning crew. Everything was pristine. Um, and I just proceeded to unpack, and I made the bed with my covers and my pillows and things like that. And I went to Spectrum and I got internet supplies, and I've established an internet connection. I've checked the keys to the tennis courts, they work, and I've checked the keys to the mailboxes, and there's a slight problem with that, but I've notified the realtor and he's on top of it. The front door keys, so I had a pile of keys, I've separated them all out. I've cleaned out closets. The owners literally just left everything here. There's bolts of material, a gorgeous fountain that I don't know that it works. It's a wall fountain, but I'm going to see. And if it does work, I'm going to refurbish it and use it. Pots and decorative rocks that go in your pots. And then a bunch of junk too, like just loose screws and nails and odds and ends, a lot of light bulbs, which I saved all of those because you never have too many light bulbs. So I've done everything, and I've got a pile of electronics, the telephones. I don't, you know, of course, these people I'm sure had been here for years, or somebody had been. They were still mounted to the walls, uh, and I had piles of stuff to either recycle or take to the electronic people. You can't just dump it in your trash, I don't think, out here. I know you can in Colorado. And I've just really been doing a lot. But let me tell you, on my trip here, though, before I got to the campground on Tuesday, I was in northern New Mexico, and it started to lightly snow. It's all right. The roads are dry, and I'm just bebopping along, and then it gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and it's dark. And at one point, I couldn't even see an 18-wheeler was in front of me, and I was kind of trailing him, and he just went off and left. Well, he went off and left because I slowed down. I was so nervous, and I literally just scared. And and the snow was coming down so hard at that point, I could not tell where I was on the road. Um, and you know how the sides of the road has the grooves in the sides. It goes brrr. So I thought, you know, F it, I can't keep doing this, so I am gonna end up in the ditch. And so I just pulled over till I heard the brrr on both sides of the wheels, and then I just kind of sat there, and a car passed by, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna follow their trenches. And I don't know, maybe 100 feet up the road, there was a pullover spot, and it had about 6, 7, 18 wheelers in it. And I pulled right up in there with those mugs, and got my phone out and checked the weather map, and I saw that there was just one line of snow, and it was moving across New Mexico, and I just happened to drive right into it. And so I probably sat there for maybe close to an hour, and I could tell in real time, and you know, I'm the blue dot in the clouds, and you know, within the hour, it had stopped snowing, and I thought, I'm gonna go. I popped it into four-wheel drive, and I hit the road, and I don't know, 3 or 4 miles up the road, the snow just kind of went away, and here I am. But let me tell you something. When I was driving in that snow and I could not see, I am not kidding you, I'm not exaggerating. I was doing this. I was scared shitless. Um, but haven't got to the campground, stayed there that night, and then I made my way to Palm Springs, of course, the next day. And just been traveling all over. I went to Ralph's, which I love Ralph's, the grocery store, but I can tell you food is a little bit more expensive here in Palm Springs than it is in even Colorado Springs. Um, Love it. Love it. I'm wearing shorts, have a little sweater on because I'd been out back and forth to the mailbox and to the tennis courts, making sure that everything was working. And it's just a little nipply. I didn't have to wear the sweater, but I'm just so bitterly over cold weather. So it reminded me of that in about July when it's 120 here. So, but I don't think I'm going to need reminding because I've discovered after experiencing real cold, not South Louisiana cold, but I'm talking real cold, we had 22 inches of snow. That had barely melted. Well, it hadn't even melted. And we got another snow, and that didn't melt. And it was just constant shoveling snow and the wind blowing, and it's just so miserable, and you can't get outside, you can't do anything. So, having had that experience, because the first winter in Colorado Springs, loved it. It snowed a lot, but my God, it had been in snow in over 30 years. I think the last time that I was in snow, Dee Bullock and I had driven to New Orleans and it snowed. And I want to say there was a Saints game going on, not the Super Bowl, but anyway, somehow she and I drove down in my vehicle. She drove because I was such a you know what that, oh, I'm scared. So she drove. And I can tell you, she's probably one of two people who's driving I have 1000% confidence in. Anyway, um, so, 40 years later, the snow in Colorado Springs was fun and exciting. And then after that, it wasn't so much. And then the next one, and of course, this past one was like, I'm done. So here we are. I'm so excited. Um, I should have done like a video walkthrough, but we have right here on this first level is the kitchen. There's a wall. There's the dining area, this little seating area, and we're tearing all of this out and turning this into like to just one big room with, of course, a seating area and a dining area. And then I want a big island in the middle of the room with, and I'm going to do quartzite. I'm not doing quartz, and I'm so over granite. Anyway, so we just have all these plans. Now, going back to my business, I left all of my candles, my lip balms, ooh, my body butters, my serums, all of my gorgeous soap. I just made a whole freight. In fact, I was going to call Rodney this morning and remind him to bring my peppermint soap and some hand soap. I did bring some of my lavender room spray. I think I may have showed that to you guys. I don't have it with me now, but it's in a plant mister. I caught these plant misters on sale at Walmart, 50 cents a piece. And the container itself is huge, right? And then it's got the spout, and you hold a plant mister like this, and anyway, I bought every single one of them, and I made a boatload of room sprays. And so every night before I go to bed, I just spray my beds with lavender. Uh, I call it a room spray, but it's really multi-purpose. I clean the bathrooms with it. I clean the kitchen sinks, the cabinets, and things like that with it. I spray my bed with it. I spray it on my body. Lavender is probably one, in my opinion, that and peppermint, or any of the mints, wintergreen, peppermint, probably one of the best essential oils thus far that I have used that I find to be the most beneficial. Wash my hair with peppermint because it stimulates the hair follicles and blood flow and da da da. Obviously, to increase hair growth. But that lavender, I had some scratches up here at one point, and I just took lavender oil straight out of the bottle, which you're not supposed to do, and I do not recommend it if you have a sensitivity to those kinds of things. But I just rubbed it in, and I am not lying. I know you will not believe this, but like the next morning I got up and the scratches were like 75% gone. I am not kidding you. So, point being, I have all of these potions and ointments and salves and creams. I did make some lavender face cream, body butter, if you want to call it that. I also did a peppermint body butter, which I do just about everywhere. I even use it as deodorant. It's greasy, but I put arrowroot into it. So, and I put more than what's called for because arrowroot will stop the greasy from your lotions and butters from being greasy. But it is still greasy because it is like 90% oil, right? But I put just a dab there and then I just, do under both arms. And if you wait about 5 or 10 minutes, the oil, and I used castor oil, another miracle oil. And if you wait about 5 or 10 minutes, the oil evaporates quickly, not evaporates, but absorbs quickly into your skin. And um, I have no underarm because peppermint is an antimicrobial, right? It's antifungal. So, of course, I put it on my feet. I mean, it's wonderful stuff, but sadly, I'm not doing any markets in Colorado Springs this year. I've actually gotten my application for markets here in Palm Springs. There's one on Thursday evenings, every Thursday starting in May, I believe, and it goes through, I think, January or February. So I'm signing up for that. And I'm going to just limit myself to that every Thursday night market because I do fairly well. When I was doing the Colorado Farm and Art Market, I did extremely well every other Saturday. So I invested, my original investment was about $5,000. I've gotten twice, I've doubled. I got my investment back and 5,000 more. So I was super duper excited about that. So I just think that I can do an every other, I mean, a once a week market or even an every other week market, and I'll do well. And I enjoy it. I enjoy the people and the chit chats, and I've made friends and this, that, and the other. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So I won't be back in Colorado Springs with my markets, but I will be here in Palm Springs. Um, Got my website is still up and running. I'm still at 200 pounds. I'm glad about that. It's a struggle. I can tell you, I did take the GLPs and I stopped taking the GLPs when I got down to my goal weight, so to speak. And I can certainly tell a difference in the increased appetite, those kinds of things. Golly, what else? Just a lot going on. Rodney is coming in tomorrow. He'll be here tomorrow night. He's bringing Sam Jones, whom I miss terribly. I'm going to get a cat, maybe two cats. I found two little Boston Terriers in New Orleans. They were 6 months old, and they were being sold at a discount, and because they were 6 months old, and they were beautiful, just so black and so white, and just gorgeous. And I talked to the guy, and I was going to get both of them. It's going to be a couple of $1,000s, but okay. Um, and as I read their bios and everything, I just I just couldn't do it. I'm not ready for another dog, or I'm just not ready. And I don't know that Boston's would do good in Palm Springs anyway because their snout and respiratory difficulties, breathing, this, that, and the other. And I still miss Bruce Willis every single day. And so I just don't think I'm ready for another Boston Terrier right now. I still have Sam Jones. I think she's depressed. Um, but I think a cat. I think a cat will be more to my liking. They're more independent. Uh, I don't have to put them in the car and take them with me every time I go to the grocery store, like I do with Sam Jones. I don't have to, of course, but I can tell you this: since Bruce, we lost Tim, and then Bruce passed away, and she had never been by herself, uh, uh, and I have left her 3 times, maybe, no lie, maybe 3 times since Bruce has passed away, like to run to the store or something. And when I get back, she is just at the window looking at just woo, woo, woo. And if I heard her bark one time over the past 10 years, I mean, it's incredible. And now she just barks nonstop when I leave her by herself. So I don't. So I take her with me. But a cat, I think, would be different. And I want a big yellow cat. And I'm probably going to get two because I think cats need company. Jones is well. She's 13. She's starting to lose some of her vision, I can tell. She doesn't. I can stand over here and yell for her, and she does this, and then as she approaches, then she can. It's like she can't really see far off. She can hear my voice. So, but anyway, so that's where we are. I'm gonna cut the video off. The drizzle has just about stopped. They're actually forecasting most of the rain for this evening and tomorrow. So I'm kind of looking forward to see how that goes down. I need to run out and just pick up a few necessities. I'm feeling something savory. I want chili would be good, but I don't know. Red beans and rice, gumbo, something savory, stew, cornbread. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so that's where we are. Please, and I'm back into my private practice. I've also now signed up with Sondermind. Sondermind is an exceptional online platform for telehealth. They pay 4 times as much as BetterHelp. So if you are a clinician and you want to do something a little bit better than BetterHealth, Sondermind, I highly recommend it. Please tell them that Dr. Brian Wise referred you, because I get some referral credit if you do. So I'm building my practice with that. Gosh, everything is beautiful. So there you go. My oldest boy is rocking and rolling. They just went camping at the camp that we had in Mississippi. My grandson Aiden is just blossoming. Um, Everything is beautiful there after a few years of it not being so beautiful, but everything is beautiful there again with my oldest boy, Justin. It's as if I just saw him yesterday. And of course, Joey, rocking and rolling. He's gotten a new position. He and Shane are doing just equally as beautiful, successful. Both of my boys are successful, and I could not be more proud of both of my sons. Uh, Rodney is retiring in August. He's put in his notice, so I believe at this time. That's a whole nother story. And we're just living our best life. I'm 61 years old. I'm following through on my 2025 New Year's resolution. If there's something that I want to do and I feel like it's a fear thing keeping me from doing it, I'm just like, F it. I'm doing it, and if I get a flat, I get a flat. If I break down, I break down. Because here's the thing. Even if I had run off the road during the whiteout, I mean, I was going 40 miles an hour, that's why I have insurance. Anyway, all right, I'm going to go. I have a few things that I want to do around here. It's already 11 o'clock. Um, Golly, yourcolorpuppy.com is up and running. Um, don't order anything because all of my inventory, boop, is 1,200 miles away. I probably need to freeze my account right now in case because I have gotten quite a few shipping orders. That's actually a good idea when I do that. Anyway, peace out. You guys stay safe. I know it's really stressful time politically, financially for a lot of people. There's a lot of insecurities around food. Um, um, I'm not going to say pray. I'm not sending you prayers. I'm not sending you hopes, because prayer and hope hadn't got shit for anybody. But I will tell you this, if you really super duper need help, and if it's within my power to help you, please ask me because I am here to help my family and my friends if it's within my power. And I feel like that help is warranted and needed. And I can tell you that I think it is a travesty for any individual to live a life of solitude in that there is nothing outside of this, this shield that we have around ourselves. And we count ourselves not responsible for other people, That's on you. That's not me, this, that, and the other. And I think that is just one of the most horrible things that an individual can do. Also, even in our political climate, I know that things are tough, but you can't be complacent, and you cannot be complicit. You can't just sit back and ignore it and turn a blind eye to it because it didn't happen with the confines of my boundaries. And I'm still getting my paycheck, and I get to drive here and there and polish off 2 bottles of wine, every other day. You can't do that because even when you are complacent, you just don't give a shit. Basically, you are enabling this to continue, and you can't be complicit because I think there is a difference between the two. So to be complicit means that you are aware of it and you actively choose to not do anything about it because it might go against the grain or it might hurt somebody's feelings. It's a little bit different from complacency, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. To be complicit, to hang out with people who do things that should not be done toward humanity, to be complicit in that behavior is to condone that behavior. And while you may not share those same values, ideas, and beliefs, if you are complicit, if you are hanging out with people and your attitude is, oh, well, that's their beliefs, not mine, but we're best buddies, you're just as culpable, in my opinion. Speak out, be safe, but speak out. Remember this: no matter who you are, what color, what your sexual orientation is, your gender identity. You can be male, female, trans, non. You can whatever you want to be. That's your fucking right. Stand up for it. We're not going to take it, and we're sure the fuck not going back. Having said that, I'm feeling super motivated. I love you. Peace out. Come visit with me in Palm Springs. It's absolutely gorgeous. Until then, you guys be safe.